A Pentagon official, not Pete Hegseth, somehow, was interviewed by Matt Gaetz. I cannot believe this is these are sentences that go together, but a Pentagon official who was interviewed by Matt Gaetz was drunk on camera. At least that's how it appears. And this is coming when we are learning too that the Pentagon is not just deleting videos of their crimes or just deleting it. They're just saying, delete it. That's against the law. I wonder if we will ever do anything about it, but we have information and evidence of that. And Republicans are not able to answer for any of this. I have Tom Cotton just running around in circles trying to avoid being very direct about his answers to the very unlawful things that are happening in this country right now. And I don't know. Is it any surprise that this is what's happening with the Pentagon, where we have people who are showing up to work like this?
Platforms that I've long been a critic of. I'll start with the F-35. They cost about $100 million a copy. What percentage of the F-35 are fully mission capable today?
So that's a great question, Matt, and I appreciate you getting after it, because not enough. Not enough. It is the most capable fighter that we have right now.
When it flies.
When it flies, you're right. It is the most capable fighter. What we have right now, and you saw just last month in the acquisition speech, is a...
Oh my God. I can smell the alcohol through the screen. Jesus Christ, this man's slurring up a storm.
Department and leadership that's willing to get after it, to challenge industry, to produce better.
Yeah, but what percentage of them can fly?
So not enough.
So but you just called it our most capable platform, and less than 40% of them, by my last review of the Air Force's statements, are fully mission capable. Why is it not failure for a platform to perform at less than 40% when it costs?
All right, we're going to listen to this man talk a little bit more, but I just want to make sure you understand that this man is fully drunk, 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. But I also got to say that of all the things happening right now in our country, this is what Matt Gaetz is focused on. This is the gumshoe reporting we can expect in the new Pentagon press corps.
So, Matt, looking at it holistically, sure, you can throw out the number 40%. But when you look at Operation Midnight Hammer, Operation Rough Rider,
those weren't F-35 was not delivering.
Oh my God, boring. Who cares about that stuff? Regardless, that man's drunk. That man is drunk. And I guess I'm not surprised with the leadership of Pete Hegseth. I'm sure drinks are flowing and free at the Pentagon, which I don't know, doesn't make me feel very safe, to be honest. Tom Cotton was also asked about the fact that this boat was struck twice, and apparently these people were calling for help, and then they were killed by our government. Here's how Tom Cotton has to square the circle on that.
Let me ask you this specific question. Would it be legal for police in Arkansas to kill suspected drug dealers on a boat in an overturned lake?
That is such a good question. I'm going to let him answer. And I'm going to do this more and more on this channel because I don't want to just be like, corporate media sucks, journalists suck. I think that's how fascists win. I think journalism is so important. It's just that we have to uplift people when they're actually doing important work. John Brennan here, you're going to see, puts Tom Cotton's feet to the fire, and you're going to see that this is what real journalism should be. It doesn't happen enough, but when it does happen, we need to applaud it, because I call myself political commentator. I'm not a journalist in the traditional sense of the word, but journalism I use all the time to bring you information and to bring you commentary. And so it's so important that we have real journalists who question those who are in power. It's so critical. And he's doing a good job in this interview, as you're going to see.
Well, John, let me go back to the premise of your question. The Washington Post reported that Pete Hegseth had given an unlawful order of no quarter or no one left alive or kill them all. Pete Hegseth denied that last week, and it didn't deny that there was a second strike. Mitch Bradley and Dan Cain both flatly denied that yesterday as well, which some of the Democrats who watched that video and got those briefings confirmed. So that's what the Washington Post reported. That is a total and complete lie. I just respectfully disagree with my Democratic friends here. I think the problem they have is not with the second strike, it's with the first strike and every other strike on these boats. They think the entire operation is not well-founded. I just disagree with them. I think the analogy I would draw is not Arkansas police officers dealing with American citizens. if those boats were loaded with bombs or missiles headed for the United States, I don't think anyone would dispute that we had every right and indeed a duty to intercept them. But those drugs detonate like a bomb all across Arkansas and all across America, killing hundreds of Arkansans and hundreds of thousands of Americans. Our government has a duty to protect our communities from those drugs.
Senator,
that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Can I just take this in pieces? And we first answer my question. Would it be legal for police in Arkansas to kill suspected drug dealers in an overturned boat in a lake in Arkansas? Just answer that, and then I will address your question on the other thing.
John, the premise of your question is not well founded. Criminals in Arkansas are not foreign nationals who are affiliates of a foreign terrorist designated organization.
The answer is no, it would not be legal.
It's like saying
hang on, Senator. The answer is no, it would not be legal to kill them in a lake. But let me ask a follow-up question. If they are terrorists, when did Congress pass the authorized use of force to attack them?
John.
Fuck.
The reason why your question is not well founded is like saying, would Barack Obama be okay droning an American citizen when he was president like he did to Anwar al-Awlaki over in the Middle East? These are totally different categories. The
Senator, that's why I asked when Congress passed the authorized use of military force. There was an authorized use of military force against terrorists. I'm not saying what he did was legal or not, but that's what they based it on. In this case, when was the authorized use of military force to attack suspected drug dealers off the coast of Venezuela?
John, the president has inherent authority as the commander-in-chief under the Constitution to protect.
Blah 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 blah. Why is Congress so horny to give away all of their power to Donald Trump? I don't get it. Wouldn't you want to be able to make those decisions too, Tom Cotton? Why are you letting him cuck you? Anyways, let's keep going. Now, the alleged traffickers killed by the U.S. military on September 2nd were not heading to America, as Tom Cotton alleged. They were heading to link up with another boat that was in Suriname. Is Suriname in America? Have I somehow forgotten that? It's the 51st state? Did I not realize? They're such idiots. All right. Now, we also learned that the drug boat in the Caribbean, this is told by Admiral Bradley, the survivors were waving at something in the air before the second strike, although they can't say whether they were surrendering or asking U.S. aircraft for help. But regardless, we are learning that Admiral Bradley told lawmakers that the boat was going to meet a larger vessel heading towards Suriname. So now here's Tom Cotton trying to make sense of all of that.
He continued to talk about, one of them took off his shirt as if he's trying to suntan. But again, your colleagues, some of them saying, look, they were waving their arms around. Isn't it possible that even the act of taking off a T-shirt could have been part of an attempt to get attention for help?
Or it could have been an attempt to signal to another cartel boat to come pick them up and pick up the cargo.
But is there confirmation of what they were doing and what their intentions were?
For Admiral Bradley's decision, it doesn't really matter what they were doing. They were on that boat. That boat was still a valid target. They were not in a state of distress on a plank of wood in the ocean like subsequent survivors were. And when that was the case in October, our military did the right thing. It sent a vessel, it picked them up.
I just don't think we should be in the business of killing people without due process. I don't think we should be in the business of killing people at all. But waving your shirt around on a boat that's been capsized after it's already been struck once, that's allegedly carrying drugs and no longer has those drugs, just is not a reason to die. Okay? Now, this is why they're now deleting videos. They don't want any of this. They don't want to have to deal with any of this ever again. So now the Navy is deleting videos of these attacks. According to a confidential, this is blueamp.co. According to a confidential document shared with us by an anonymous source, there was an immediate disagreement to even begin the video and photo documentation. The detainee processing shipboard personnel insisted on documenting, referring to standing policy on detainee onboarding procedure. The Marines who brought the detainees on board pushed back, citing the word of the Commodore that video and photography were prohibited. The public affairs officer prevailed and documentation ensued, both photo and video. But less than 2 hours later, the order came down for that footage to be deleted, all of it. The anonymous source states that after much deliberation and conferring with JAG, which is Army attorney, the order was confirmed: delete all video and photographic documentation of the detainees. The shipboard personnel recorded their objection via written statement after following through with the order. So they want to make sure that we don't ever get to see any of this again. The U.S. military is now stopping documentation of these illegal war crimes because they don't want to have to put themselves through what they should be going through, which is oversight and answering questions to the American people. My thing is, like, if you don't want bad footage to be released, why don't you stop doing bad things? We can't criticize what isn't there. Now, they take that as we just won't film it, but we can't criticize something bad that you do if you don't do it. So why don't you stop doing the bad thing? And by the way, the truth has a way of coming out eventually. So even if you stop documenting it, we're going to know one way or another if you've done something illegal. And my hope is that when we get a Democrat into office one way or another, we're going to put every single person on trial who's broken the law, committed war crimes, and who has murdered people. That's what this is, murder. It's murder. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye.